Hello everyone, welcome back to another Starships 2.0 tutorial. This time we'll be talking about costs, because if you thought enhanced items were a credit sink, you ain't seen nothing yet. I will not, however, be discussing time requirements. I will just be talking about monetary requirements. Thankfully, our handy shipyard sheet does all the math for us, but this video will break down how these costs are calculated. Scroll all the way down to the breakdown. Firstly, let's talk about tiers. All ships start their lives at tier 0 and are built up from there. The prices for stock ships depend on size. Tiny ships cost 10,000 credits, small ships cost 50,000 credits, medium cost 100,000 credits, large cost 1 million credits, huge cost 100 million credits, and gargantuan cost 1 billion credits. Choosing to build a ship rather than buy one will cut these prices in half. However, there will be a time investment involved. For the sake of an example, let's say we want to build the TIE LN fighter shown here on screen. This thing right here. It's a small ship and we're going to buy it, so we start at 50,000 credits spent. Now we'll talk about tier upgrades, which are essentially you leveling your starships up. Unlike other costs, tier upgrades can have credits sunk into them over time, rather than having to be invested all at once. The costs required to increase from one ship tier to the next are shown here on this chart. It costs 3,900 credits before cost modifiers to go from tier 0 to tier 1. It costs 77,500 credits before cost modifiers to go from tier 1 to tier 2, and so on. These tier upgrade costs change depending on your ship's size, shown in this chart here. As you can see from this chart, tiny ships drop the cost in half, whereas a gargantuan ship multiplies the cost by 1,000. These costs can also be cut in half if you are supplying the workforce and using your own time to upgrade your ship. Back to our example, our TIE LN is a tier 1 ship, so we take our base cost of 3,900 credits to upgrade from tier 0 to tier 1, and multiply that by the cost modifier for small ships, which is 1. So 3,900 times 1 is 3,900. Next, we'll look at the cost of modifications. Just like tiers, modifications have a base cost that's dependent on the category of each modification. Engineering and operation mods cost 3,500 credits. Suite mods cost 5,000 credits. Universal mods cost 4,000 credits. And weapon mods cost 3,000 credits. Modifications have two modifiers that are applied to their cost. The first is a modifier based on your ship's size. This chart is also used for equipment too, but note that it is different from the one used earlier for upgrading your ship's tier. The second modifier is the modification's grade. Grade 0 and 1 modifications have a modifier of times 1, but grades 2 through 5 have multipliers equal to their grade number. So, for example, a grade 3 mod has a times 3 multiplier. Looking at our TIE LN, it has 5 modifications installed: a flight computer, a scanner, premium, lightweight plating Mark 1, thrusters Mark 1, and a fixed hardpoint. You'll notice that the flight computer and fixed hardpoint have costs of 0. This is because these were chosen to be the ship's stock modifications, so they come free of charge. Small ships get 2 stock modifications, which are grade 0 modifications that aren't suite modifications. We do have to pay for the other 3 modifications though. The scanner is an operations mod, so it has a base cost of 3,500 credits multiplied by 1, since its grade is 0. We follow a similar process for this lightweight plating mod. This mod is a universal mod, so it has a base cost of 4,000 credits multiplied by 1, since it is grade 1. The thrusters Mark 1 mod is also a grade 1 universal mod, so it also costs 4,000 credits. The cost of the mods so far is listed here in cell F19. The starship sheet factors in the size multiplier last, since it will be the same for all modifications on a ship. So we have our total mod cost of 11,500 credits so far. Now we multiply by the ship's size multiplier, which is times 1, because the TIE LN is a small ship. So our final mod cost is 11,500 credits. And if you're curious, the multiplier would be applied down here. This mod cost could be higher if the installation process fails, however. It could also be lower too. The cost of a modification is split into two equal halves. Half of the cost represents the cost of hiring a workforce, and the other half represents the cost of the modification itself. If you can supply the installation workforce, you can ignore the installation cost of a mod. If you can craft the modification yourself using a mechanics kit and following the rules for crafting in Chapter 8 of the player's handbook, the cost of the modification will be half its normal cost. This means that if you are able to craft the modification yourself and install it using your own workforce, the overall cost of the modification will be 1/4 the adjusted cost. For example, this would mean a Grade 2 universal mod for a small ship, which would normally cost 8,000 credits to purchase and install, could cost as little as 2,000 credits to create and install yourself. The last thing we need to factor in is equipment costs. Our ship's armor, reactor, and power coupling are stock, so we don't need to worry about them, unless we decide to change them later. We only need to worry about the cost of our weapons, our shields, our hyperdrives, and our ammunition. Equipment follows the same size modifier chart as modifications. Our TIE-LN is pretty bare bones. The only piece of equipment we need to factor in is our one twin laser cannon. As with modifications, the values of everything here are added together here in cell F78, and then the size modifier is applied all the way down here. For our TIE-LN, our twin laser cannon costs 4,400 credits, and it's our only piece of equipment that we have to actually pay for. So we apply our size multiplier, which is ×1 for a small ship, giving us a total of 4,400 credits to pay for equipment. Now we add everything together. We have 50,000 credits from buying the ship stock, plus 3,900 credits from tier upgrades, plus 11,500 credits from ship modifications, plus 4,400 credits from equipment, giving us a grand total of 69,800 credits for our TIE-LN Starfighter. Had we built the ship from scratch, however, the initial purchase cost of 50,000 credits would be cut in half to 25,000 credits, which would reduce our cost down to 44,800 credits. And that's all there is to it. I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and I'll see you on the next one.